G'day everybody, my name is Lyle and welcome to the channel. So we have a reaction video for us today. This is Europeans finally understand why Americans are so confident. Let's jump in and let's have a look at this one.
Those reactions weren't exaggerated, and what these Europeans experienced completely changed the way they looked at America. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why so many of them finally understood where American confidence comes from. But here's the surprising part. Most people never hear this side of the story.
We got a Target here. I wonder if Target here we have in Australia is the same Target they have in America. Because we still have Kmart, which is a different company now. We have Woolworths as well, which is a different company now. Actually, it was never the same company. Australians just stole that name as a joke, and apparently it got passed. I wonder if it's the same Target. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. If you do know, let me know. Let me know.
From. But here's the surprising part. Most people never hear this side of the story. If you enjoy discovering unexpected truths through real experiences and honest reactions, hit subscribe right now. You don't want to miss the next video because each one reveals something that completely changes the way people see America. Now, let's get into it.
I feel like the American confidence gets a lot of criticism, but it's something that I've really appreciated as a foreigner. We were literally just walking Venice Beach and Joe sneezes and some guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, bless you." And then as we're walking along the beach, this lady comes up to me and she approaches me in such a familiar, friendly way that I genuinely thought she was talking to someone else. And she said "Oh my God, I love your shirt." And by the time she'd kind of walked off, I kind of realized, oh shit, she was talking to me. And I turned around and quickly said thank you. But it was just the way she approached me. It was so easy. And it was like she was talking to a friend of hers, which is why I was so confused. I was just watching a post.
I guess if you're approaching somebody from a genuinely nice place, I guess it does come off maybe confident. I don't know. Friendly for sure. Okay.
Easy. And it was like she was talking to a friend of hers, which is why I was so confused. I was just watching a post of a fellow Brit living in America, and he was talking about how he's noticed the difference in children and how they are typically more confident in America than they are in England. And it made me think, because I think literally every single other Brit I follow on here who lives in America, one thing that all of them will say is that people in general, not just kids, but adults, kids, but people in general are more confident here than they are in England.
Oh.
From a young age in England, we can typically be told to not show off, don't brag, be humble, don't toot your own horn. It can be seen as...
We get that in Australia. Don't be a tall poppy, as they say in Australia. You'll get your knees cut out. Don't overachieve, stuff like that. So I can understand where she's coming from.
Typically be told to not show off, don't brag, be humble, don't toot your own horn. It can be seen as arrogant to talk about your achievements, or if you have a pay raise or a idea that you have that may go against the grain. Whereas in America, I think it's celebrated to talk about yourself in such a positive light. If you have an achievement, a stranger would celebrate with you. When you have positive motivation, this can help you with your confidence. This just isn't something that we're used to in England. I won't lie, when I first moved to America and people were this way with me, I kind of saw it as fake or not being genuine, but it really isn't. American people just love celebrating other people's wins and bigging each other up. I'm not saying this doesn't happen at all in England, but culturally speaking, it just isn't something that is common. Literally every single British person living in America I've seen on TikTok, one thing they will all say is they've become a much more confident person since moving to America, and I honestly love that for us. So yeah, this is one of the many reasons many of us British people love living here.
Let's talk about how actually living in the US raised my self-esteem as an European. So I'm an Italian girl. I was born and raised in Milan. That's why I was I'm sorry if I say some words in English wrong, but English is not my first language. Anyway, one of the first things that happens to me when I arrived here in the US, I was in Walmart and this woman approached me and just gave me a straight compliment. She just said to me "Oh, I love your hair and I love your skirt. Where'd you get it?" And I was like, oh my God, thank you. I really didn't expect that because this is something that in my country would never happen. There is no way, man that approach you and tells you, "Oh, you look nice," or "You look hot." Yeah, that happened all the time. But we know why, okay? The fact that a girl stops you and tells you, "Oh, you look gorgeous. You look very nice. I love your skirt. I love your dress." This never happened, okay? Never. It never happened to me.
I guess it's kind of like having your own hype man too, kind of obviously giving you that positive energy all the time. I can understand that. I can understand that for sure.
This never happened. Okay. Never. It never happened to me. I asked my boyfriend, I was like, is this normal? And he said to me, like, yes, that's pretty normal. That's happened all the time. Like if we like something, we just stop and tell that person that we like her shoes or his shirt, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually like so nice. And this is something that boosts my confidence so much. Same things about my body confidence. Okay. In Italy, a lot of people saying that we have a very body shaming mentality. And as an Italian, that's true. You need to be very skinny, okay, for being considered good looking, okay? Because my body, it's considered like fat in Italy, okay? Instead here, everyone like loves my body. All these things make me feel like so good. And this is something that I wish in my country will be implemented. But I think it never will. I recognize that by myself. Like, I will never stop a girl and say, oh, I love your dress or I love your hair. I will look at her and I will think that I like it, but I will never tell her. Probably this is because we've been raised to have a lot of competition with other girls. I saw many American women on this app that are currently in Italy complaining about this. And unfortunately, this is true. And one of the things that I love the most of being here is the fact that actually I can see girl supporting other girl. This is just something that I really love about this country.
So many of you reached out after my last video that I had to say this one more time. The media has been lying to you about America, and the World Cup just proved it. For years, European and Canadians have been fed the same narrative. America is dangerous. Americans are ignorant. The culture is shallow. The food will kill you. And people believed it. Why? Because they saw it on the news. They read it online. They never actually went. Then the World Cup came and millions of people who had never set foot in the US suddenly showed up. And you know what they found? Friendly people, incredible energy, stadiums that blew their minds, hospitality they didn't even expect. Video after video of Europeans and Canadians saying, I had no idea, I was completely wrong, this is nothing like what I was told. And that's exactly the problem. The media doesn't profit from you having a good experience. No. It profits from fear, division, outrage. A Canadian family having the time of their life in Texas doesn't get clicks, you know? A crime story does. So that's all you ever see.
Unfortunately, that is true. And it's been true forever and a day. You know, when you used to watch news, I don't watch news anymore because it's full of crap. You know, it's always about the bad news. And then it's maybe a tiny little good news story at the end, usually about ducks or something like that, you know, to make you feel happy when the news ends. But it's always bad. Bad news sells, unfortunately, you know. As you said, you know, nobody wants to hear about a family that had a great time, but they want to hear about the family that were carjacked and, you know, everything they had was stolen, you know, while they're visiting from Canada. That gets the clicks, unfortunately. That's just human nature, unfortunately.
Doesn't get clicks, you know?
Yeah.
A crime story does. So that's all you ever see. That's all you ever hear. And slowly, without even realizing it, your entire worldwide view gets shaped by people who want you to be afraid. And look, in my opinion, the World Cup didn't just bring football to America. It accidentally broke the most powerful propaganda machine in the world because people finally went and saw it for themselves. So stop letting a screen decide what you think about a place. Go experience it because I promise you the truth is always different from what they're selling you.
Many Europeans arrived expecting loud stereotypes and endless hype. Instead, they found everyday conveniences, massive spaces, friendly conversations with strangers, and a level of confidence that seemed built into daily life. Suddenly, American confidence didn't look like arrogance anymore. It started making perfect sense from their perspective.
One of the things I really love about Americans is how confident they are, and it seems to be something that's ingrained in Americans from a really young age. So when we moved to America last year, me and my husband and the 3 children, we're all quite reserved. We're quite quiet people. We're shy, we're introverted, apart from being around each other. But since coming over here and being around people that are just so confident, it's really obvious how different we've been raised to just be quiet, don't show off, don't be too loud, don't talk about yourself, be wary approaching people. But I've really noticed a change in my 3 children. So they are attending a school and they have lessons in being confident and presenting. So even my well, she's now 5, but even my 4-year-old, when she started transitional kindergarten, they had her on a weekly basis like presenting to the class, saying, hi, this is my name, this is what I'm going to talk about. And they get graded on how loud they speak, how clearly they speak, what they can improve on. And I guess
that's pretty good for later in life to build that confidence, you know, from that early age. One of the things that I used to hate at school was getting up in front, especially doing, you know, your, you know, presentations and stuff like that. Terrifying. Absolutely bloody terrifying. But I mean, if you had lessons from I don't know what transitional kindergarten is. I don't know what that is. Let me know down there. But if you've gotten those lessons for, you know, a couple of years before you even have to do that, how confident would you be? You feel so much more prepared for that. Okay. I would have loved lessons like that when I was a kid. Would have loved it. Would have been less terrified doing those projects in later school.
How clearly they speak, what they can improve on. And I guess it's kind of like show and tell that we had in the UK, but that kind of fizzled out. And I remember it being optional as well. This is being in an American school. They really are expected to do this. And it's also...
Is that what it is? In America, is that what they're doing, show and tell? Or is it an actual thing that they actually do? 'Cause, God, I'm trying to remember if I had show and tell, or I've just seen so many bloody American movies and TV shows, they had show and tell. So I just kind of think that we did. I can't remember if we did. Maybe? It's been a long time since I've been at school. I'm trying to remember, is it an actual memory or is it just remembering all the TV shows that I've watched from America and they had show and tell? I can't remember. Now I can't remember. Oh, no. Okay.
Being in an American school, they really are expected to do this. And it's also, when you go to like children's playgrounds and parks, a lot of the children will come up to my children and be like, hey, my name's so-and-so. Would you like to play with me? And my kids at first were a bit like, oh, and really nervous and shy and didn't know what to say. But now they're like, yeah, my name is so-and-so and let's play. But when we first moved out here, it was really weird. And
culture
now
shock,
that's not the case.
Sure. Yeah.
And I've really noticed that my 3 children are becoming more confident, and it's great to see them coming out of their shell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be something me and my husband will change, because we've had 40 years of being told and learning not to be confident, being reserved and quite quiet. And
I don't think, because I have British parents too, born in Scotland. I don't think we're told not to be confident, but it's that, you know, be quiet. You know, children should be, you know, seen and not heard and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, don't talk out of turn. And I guess that's the consequence of that kind of upbringing as well. I can understand that. It's quite a shame, actually. Quite a shame.
Being reserved and quite quiet, and but I do like it. I think it's really good. I think it's great that the children are learning to be confident and to go up to other people and say, this is my name, this is what I do, to take up space and just be confident. I really like it.
One of the reasons all these videos about Europeans and foreigners coming to America and enjoying our culture so much, one of the reasons it's so great is because you have to remember that the media doesn't just lie about America in America. The media lies about America all over the world, right? Yep. So people all over the world are told about how dangerous America is. And then they come to America and they're like, oh my God, it seems incredibly safe here. And they're told about how awful America is. And then they see how amazing like our grocery stores are and our restaurants are and how, our food portions, and they love the taste of the food. And so when all of you get is this constant leftist stream of negativity about America, because journalists tend to be Marxist and communist and anti-American and anti-capitalist, right? Journalists around the world hate America. And this is universal inside of America, and it's almost universal outside of America. And so for people to actually come and experience the culture and realize that their media has also been lying to them their whole lives, and sometimes it's hard for Americans to realize that our media has also been lying to us our entire lives. I know I had this realization when I was in college. So this is a very difficult thing for us to realize, and we live here. And so for foreigners to come and get to experience how amazing American culture is compared to the lies they've been told, and also compared to their own home cultures, is really encouraging, and I'm loving every minute.
You guys are way more confident than British people, and often I've noticed that confidence is paired with very little skill.
Come on now.
And to me, that takes bravery, doesn't it? Anyone can be confident with a skill to back it up, but you guys are loud and proud, even when you have no clue what you're doing.
The biggest surprise wasn't skyscrapers or highways. It was how comfortable Americans seemed expressing opinions, chasing opportunities, and thinking big without constantly worrying about judgment. For many visitors, that mindset was unfamiliar, and it challenged assumptions they had believed for years before visiting the United States.
So I've seen a lot of videos of Europeans, especially a lot of people from the UK, who are in America watching the World Cup. Yeah. And their videos are basically saying how they underestimated how much they would like America. Well, I lived there for over 10 years. I did 3 years in San Francisco and around 7 years in Houston, Texas. And I can tell you exactly what it is. It's not the food. It's not the amazing locations. I mean, these are all great. But I promise you, it is the people. They are just on another level of happiness. And for example, in the UK, if you're walking down the road and you don't know someone and they're going to walk past you, their head will be down. They won't say good morning. They won't say hello. Yep. But I promise you, in America, it's completely different. They will say, hey, how's your morning? And you'll have a quick chat with them and their vibe will be insane. One of the most common things that I've said about American people is that they seem to just be happier to be alive. I don't know if it's just me, but every time I meet an American, they just seem happier than everybody else to be alive.
I've said it before and I will say it again. If you want to know what America is like, if you've never been here before, the first place you should go when you get here is the Buc-ee's, and that is American culture.
Oh my God, her accent is so strong. I had to read the subtitles. Her accent is so dang strong. What the?
They just seem happier than everybody else to be alive.
I've said it before and I will say it again. If you want to know what America is like, if you've never been here before, the first place you should go when you get here is the Buc-ee's, and that is American culture. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but that's what it is.
Buc-ee's is definitely on the list to visit for sure. Yeah.
By the end of their journey, many admitted they finally understood why Americans often appear so confident. It wasn't just about wealth or size, it was the culture, the optimism, and the belief that bigger goals are worth pursuing. That's the part most outsiders never expect.
The media look like the fools that they are, because for decades that us in Europe have been lied to about what America is.
And how American people are.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've been deceived. Like, it's sad, and it infuriates me, because I've been one of the only people that know, and you've been one of the only people I know, that when we say, oh, we're going to America, people are like, oh, maybe I'll never see you again. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you will never see me again.
And not just that, it's been also, why are you going there? Why don't you go somewhere else? And we're like, do you know what? If you don't understand it, it's fine. But now I think they do.
Yeah. And I just cannot explain to you how happy I am right now. I love you, America. Honestly, you've done the world. you've
I
done.
just can't wait to go.
Yeah.
This just makes me think about all the things that the media made me believe about the States before I went to actually experience it myself. And like, yeah, one of the main one was that people were obnoxious, loud, didn't care about you, just care about themselves. The food will make you sick. It was also unsafe.
I have a question for Europeans right now. And I know that Europe is not a monolith. It's a bunch of different countries and everyone has different opinions. But I'm just curious, as someone who makes travel content in Europe a lot, because I travel in Europe frequently, I'm curious to know what you guys think about the United States right now. So let's do like a scenario. If I were to come to your country today and we met in a grocery store or a restaurant or on a trail hiking in your beautiful parks, or we met at a historic site or whatever it is. And we met and you asked me where I was from and I said I was from the United States. What would be your immediate thought about me? About me or about where I come from, or just like in general, what would be your first thought when you found out that I was an American? And be honest, like, I know how I feel about what's going on in my country right now. I'm not thrilled with what's going on. I'm feeling concerned, but I want to know what the perception is outside of the US. And people that follow me, people that know me, and just like what the initial thought is on if you met an American right now, what are the assumptions you're going to make about them? Obviously, we don't all think the same, but what are the vibes? Please be honest.
Isn't it interesting the difference in people, how the culture is when you get brought up with different cultures, they touched on that a couple of times with the British about being, that confidence, not instilling any confidence in our children, but in America, completely different, pushing them to be confident, pushing them to, have their voices heard and everything else and be outgoing and everything, completely different cultures. So, but I'm glad all those people have been to America and they've enjoyed it and they've, take away that politics and take away the media, politicians, people are just people. And it's fantastic. They get to see the real Americans and obviously found out that, they're much more confident. But that's just the way they are. They've been brought up that way and that's just the way they are. So that was a good video. Let me know if you enjoyed that one, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Make sure you stay safe and I'll definitely see you in the next reaction video. Oh, you're still here? You want more content? Why don't you check out my Patreon down here? You'll get plenty more content and some exclusive videos over there too. If not, why not check out this one over here?